Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Yellowstone National Park. My name is Rafael Perez, and I will be your host as we embark on a short but awesome adventure into exploring the dangers of the Yellowstone caldera and what could potentially happen if the sleeping giant were to wake from its long slumber. As you all could see by the introduction, this was a clip taken from the blockbuster movie 2012, which showcased a variety of natural disasters, marking the end of the world as we knew it. Granted, this is a Hollywood film, so the realism factor is not always 100% accurate, but since none of us have ever seen an eruption of that magnitude, all we can really do is appreciate the effects for what they are, Hollywood and entertainment. Yellowstone Park was established in 1872 as America's first national park, located in Wyoming, although parts of it spread into Idaho and Montana. It's a mountain wildland home to grizzly bears, wolves, and herds of bison and elk. This park is one of the core, last, nearly intact natural ecosystems in the Earth's temperature zone. Here we can see a picture of the mountains of Yellowstone as they reflect off the water. It's really quite a beautiful sight to see. And as you can see in this picture, we have more mountains, a more different view of the mountains from the ocean, showing not the ocean, but the lake right there. My apologies. Now upcoming is we have a shot of the Great Fountain Geyser, which actually erupts every 9 to 15 hours, shooting water up to 220 feet high. Now this is one of the many geysers that can be found at the Yellowstone National Park. But however, past its beauty lays below a sleeping giant. As you can see by this ginormous cloud, this is what it awaits us all one day, although it may not be for thousands of years. It is said that we are due for an eruption from the Yellowstone caldera. As you can all see in this photo, the red overlapping the states shows the deposit from the Yellowstone eruptions. It's a large area. That's many states right there, many states affected, and the damage not only affects these states that are in the red, but it affects really a lot of the world, because what would happen with a potential Yellowstone eruption would be lowered in temperatures around the world, which could lead to crop failures, which would ultimately lead to starvation. A lot of bad things could happen from an eruption of this magnitude we can't even fathom. As you can see in this picture, you can see the rising basaltic magma underneath the brittle plastic, and you can see the granitic magma looking like a mushroom cloud. And you can see the earthquakes that are taking place beneath the surface and the crustal stretching that's taking place. And the caldera is marked by, on the top you can see the geysers, and you can see that it's just waiting to come up. You can see the buildup from underneath. Now in this picture, this is a 3D picture of what we just looked at. You can see underneath the caldera that it's 2,500 degrees Fahrenheit. That's hot, needless to say. Now you can see in that caption it says, buoyed by an expanding magma chamber, the caldera formed during the last major eruption has risen as much as 2.8 inches a year over the past decade. That's pretty significant, ladies and gentlemen. That's a major increase in activity that has been taking place in the Yellowstone caldera. This picture, this kind of refers back to the first picture that we looked at. It is said that the last eruption, have taken place 8 million years ago, 1.3 and 630,000 years ago. Now, if you were to look at comparative volumes of eruptions, Mount St. Helens is pretty small. It's really nothing compared to what could happen with a Yellowstone eruption. Now we're going to watch a short clip on the Yellowstone eruption.
Yellowstone is an active supervolcano capable of this.
There's been 3 major eruptions in the past, the super eruptions.
Thousands of times more powerful than Mount St. Helens. An eruption on this scale would bury Western North America. A sulfur haze would dim the sun and plunge the entire world into volcanic winter.
So that's the hazard that we're facing in Yellowstone.
There is a battery of equipment here, monitoring ground deformation, gas emissions, and earthquakes. These are great for short-term predictions. But can science find a way of predicting super eruptions long in advance?
That's actually a very hard aspect of the science, is that long-term prediction.
Radon gas might provide the answer. Small amounts of the gas escape from active magma chambers. As radon decays, it forms radioactive isotopes with unique chemical signatures that scientists can measure.
I can use the radon as a clock, and I can use it to understand how fast the gas is rising from the magma deep down and coming to the surface.
The Curiosity series, Sundays at 9, only on Discovery.
Here we're going to show a few slides of what would happen as a result of a volcanic eruption. As you can see in this picture, you have the tall ash cloud going into the sky, and it's actually producing lightning as a result. Now, we could not even imagine the amount of lightning that there could be from an ash cloud produced by the Yellowstone eruption. In this picture, as you can see, houses, land would be covered in thick amounts of ash. It'd be like ash snow falling down everywhere. Many people would die as a result of inhaling ash, as it contains particles of glass. Now, earlier I had mentioned talking about the crops. As you can see here, crops would die, crops would wither, which could lead to starvation and many other health problems that we can't even fathom. Here's another video of the aftermath of an eruption.
Within an hour of a Yellowstone supereruption, pyroclastic flows could race across the countryside and engulf the valley of Jackson Hole and the town of Livingston, some 50 miles away. Within a 60-mile radius, 90% of any remaining people would be killed. A few might be blown to pieces in the initial blast. Most would suffocate in the heat of pyroclastic flows. But this would just be the beginning. Blowing across the states, would be the mother of all ash clouds, an aerial mountain of deadly particles and debris. Yellowstone National Park is the site of a recurring supervolcano. An eruption so large that if it happens again, it would destroy nearly everything within 60 miles. But what would happen next as a mountain of ash begins to spread and then fall? The Yellowstone supereruption could throw ash 15 miles into the atmosphere. The fallout could cover half the United States. 3 days after the eruption, the skies would be dark and deadly. From scientists' predictions, Naked Science has pieced together a picture of the country after 3 days of ashfall. At 6 times heavier than wet snow, wet ash would cause many roofs to collapse, clog up filters of cars, and ground aircraft across much of the western U.S. Any planes in flight would be in danger of crashing.
Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to thank you for taking the time out of your day to view this grim but informative presentation. I hope that I have made you aware of the possible consequences of a Yellowstone eruption. It is a beautiful place to visit, and I would recommend that anyone who has not yet gone to visit. It's scary to think that something as beautiful as Yellowstone National Park is sitting on top of a monster that has the power to alter our lives for the worse.